The strangest status symbol on Earth currently has teeth. Not gold teeth. Tiny plastic monster teeth. A little gremlin-looking creature called Labubu has somehow convinced adults to line up outside stores, refresh apps like they are trading stocks, film themselves opening cardboard boxes, and pay resale prices for something that has no practical use except judging you from a handbag. It does not clean your house. It does not charge your phone. It does not even look conventionally cute. And that is the mystery. Why this monster? Why now? And why did a toy company manage to turn a weird little elf with sharp teeth into one of the most powerful case studies in modern consumer psychology? Labubu was created by Hong Kong-born artist Kaising Lung in 2015 as part of a strange fantasy world called The Monsters, inspired by Nordic folklore and mischievous little creatures that look like they were rejected from a children's book for making the children uncomfortable. Then in 2019, Pop Mart began selling Labubu through its collectible toy machine. And that machine is the real story, because Pop Mart did not simply sell a doll. Pop Mart sold uncertainty. Most products work like this. You pay money, you get the thing you chose, everybody goes home like civilized adults. Labubu works more like this. You pay money, you get a sealed box. You do not know which one is inside, and suddenly your brain starts behaving like it has discovered a casino for people who own tote bags. This is called a blind box. The customer is buying a product, but also buying a tiny event. The rip, the pause, the reveal, the possible disappointment, and the dangerous little thought that says, maybe the next one. On paper, it is a collectible toy. In practice, it is a slot machine with softer lighting. Not legally a casino, but psychologically, it borrows from the same ancient human weakness. Randomness makes outcomes feel more valuable because the customer is not just purchasing ownership, they are purchasing suspense. Researchers studying blind box consumption have found that uncertainty can increase instant gratification and gambler's fallacy, while perceived scarcity can push people toward more irrational consumption. Which is a very academic way of saying the box makes people weird. A normal toy sits on a shelf and waits to be bought. A blind box creates a question. What if this is the rare one? What if this completes the set? What if everyone else gets it and I do not? And once a product becomes a question, the company does not have to sell the answer once. It can sell the question again and again. That is how an ugly little monster starts becoming something much bigger than a toy. It becomes a ritual, a flex, a social signal, and for some people, a very expensive emotional itch. The first trick was that Labubu was not too beautiful. That sounds like a problem. It was the advantage. Pretty things are easy to understand. Ugly, cute things make people argue with themselves. Is it adorable? Is it cursed? Why is it smiling like that? This tension is important because modern consumers are drowning in polished perfection. Every phone looks perfect. Every influencer apartment looks perfect. Every brand talks like it was assembled inside a management consulting slide deck. Then Labubu arrives looking like a tiny forest demon who has just stolen your AirPods. It breaks the pattern. Ugly, cute design gives people permission to like something without needing it to be elegant. It is cute enough to love, but strange enough to defend. And once people start defending a product, they start building identity around it. That is why Labubu was never just a doll. It became a personality badge. You could hang it on a designer bag, place it on your desk, display it in a shelf army, or film it being unboxed like it had just returned from a diplomatic mission. The monster became a prop in the performance of taste. A very small prop, with teeth. Then celebrity culture poured gasoline on the ritual. Labubu gained extra visibility after Blackpink's Lisa showed it in 2024, and the character later appeared in the orbit of celebrities including Rihanna, Dua Lipa, and Lizzo. This matters because social media does not just advertise products anymore, it turns ownership into evidence. You are not simply buying the object, you are buying the post, the unboxing, the shelf tour, the look what I got, and the quiet satisfaction of being part of the tiny club that understands why this monster matters. And that raises the uncomfortable question. Are adults buying Labubu because they want toys? Or because adulthood has become so optimized, expensive, and lonely that a surprise box feels like one of the few affordable rituals left? Pop Mart understood this long before the trend exploded. Its own investor materials described Pop Toys as targeting young adults, broadly ages 15 to 40, who seek emotional value from expressing personality and attitude. That line is the entire business model wearing a name tag. These are not children begging parents at a toy aisle. These are adults buying a controllable little hit of identity, chance, and comfort. A dinner is gone in an hour. A vacation is expensive. Therapy has a wait list. But a little monster arrives in a box and says, for a moment, your life can have suspense again. That sounds absurd. That is why it works. Now we get to the business engine. Pop Mart is not just a toy seller. It is an IP company with retail stores, vending machines, online drops, licensing, collaborations, and a very polished understanding of artificial scarcity. The product is plastic. The asset is intellectual property. The profit comes from making one character feel endlessly renewable. Labubu can be sleepy, fluffy, seasonal, limited, tiny, giant, dressed up, dressed down, attached to a bag, hidden in a secret edition, or released just rarely enough to make grown adults behave like they are trying to buy concert tickets from a collapsing website. This is not an accident. Scarcity changes the meaning of the object. If everyone can buy it any time, it is merchandise. If almost nobody can get it, it becomes proof. Proof you were early, proof you were lucky, proof you had the connections, the patience, or the questionable willingness to wake up for a restock. Pop Mart's numbers show how powerful that machine became. In 2024, the Monsters, the IP family that includes Labubu, generated about 3.04 billion yuan in revenue, helping drive Pop Mart's full-year revenue to 13.04 billion yuan. In 2025, Pop Mart reported total revenue of 37.12 billion yuan, and the Monsters alone generated 14.16 billion yuan, up 365.7% year-over-year. That is not a cute toy trend. That is a money machine with fur. And every part of the machine feeds the next part. Blind boxes create duplicates. Duplicates create trading. Trading creates communities. Communities create social proof. Social proof creates FOMO. FOMO creates resale markets. Resale markets create headlines. Headlines create more buyers. Then the wheel turns again. The resale market is especially strange because it changes a toy from a purchase into a speculative object. Suddenly, the question is not only do I like this, it becomes, what if this becomes valuable? Reports during the frenzy described rare Labubu versions selling for hundreds of pounds or several times retail price, while shoppers chase restocks and counterfeit Lafufu copies appeared to meet demand. This is where the story gets slightly unsettling. The object begins as emotional comfort. Then the market teaches people to think of it like an asset. The doll is no longer just a doll. It is a tiny futures contract on social attention. So why did this happen now? Because Labubu arrived at the perfect intersection of several modern habits. People are used to algorithmic discovery. People are used to drops. People are used to limited editions. People are used to turning hobbies into content. And people are used to feeling like everyone else is getting something they are missing. Labubu did not create that psychology. It simply gave it a face. A weird face. Social media made the chase visible. The blind box made the purchase repeatable. Scarcity made the object feel valuable. Resale made the value seem measurable. Influencers made the behavior look normal. And loneliness made the ritual feel warmer than it probably should. This is the part most trend reports miss. Adults are not just buying plastic monsters because they forgot how age works. They are buying small emotional systems. A collection gives order. A rare edition gives status. A community gives belonging. An unboxing gives suspense. A successful restock gives victory. That is a lot of psychological labor for one tiny goblin. And yet, the same machine that makes Labubu powerful also makes it fragile. Scarcity works until it becomes frustration. Resale works until buyers stop believing prices will rise. Hype works until everyone sees the mechanism. And when a company becomes too dependent on one monster, investors eventually notice the teeth. After PopMart's 2025 results, analysts and investors raised concerns about reliance on the monsters, even as revenue surged. That is the final irony. The same obsession that makes a company rich can also make the company look vulnerable, because a craze is not the same thing as a moat. A moat keeps competitors out. A craze keeps consumers excited until they get tired, embarrassed, broke, distracted, or suddenly interested in a different little creature with a different unsettling smile. Still, Labubu's real legacy is not whether this exact toy stays popular forever. The real legacy is what it revealed. Modern companies are no longer satisfied selling products. Products are too easy to compare, too easy to copy, too easy to forget. So the best companies sell rituals. They sell the refresh. They sell the cue. They sell the reveal. They sell the group chat. They sell the feeling that luck has briefly chosen you. And they sell the fear that if you do not buy now, the moment will close without you. That is how an ugly little monster with no practical use became a global obsession. Not because it solved a problem, because it created one. A tiny, collectible, emotionally charged problem. And then sold people the chance to solve it, one blind box at a time.